we can save ourselves and save our environment for the future generation. That's the main goal of environmental studies. Atmosphere is a blanket of gases which is there around the earth. In simple words, if I have to tell you, nitrogen gas, we have a mixture of gases or air which is there around us, which we call it as atmosphere. The minerals what we get from lithosphere is used as the raw material for many industries. Hello my dear students, I am Priyanka Rajaram from Vidyashram College, Temple of Excellence. I will be dealing with environmental studies subject for y'all. The first unit here is multidisciplinary nature of environmental studies. Before I go into the multidisciplinary nature of environmental studies, we learn what exactly is the meaning of environment. Environment is our surrounding, or I can tell the definition as it is the social, physical as well as the cultural condition that surround, affect and influence growth, survival and development of people, animals as well as plants. We call them as environment. So whatever is there around us, it is influencing us, okay, for our survival, growth as well as development. We call it as environment. It can be social or it can be cultural or it can be any physical component which is affecting us. So this is the meaning of or the definition of environment. Environment is every aspect that is influencing us, or any organism. It's not only humans, it is any living organism. It can be plants, it can be animals or it can be humans also. So any aspect that is or any issue that affect an organism is called as environment. Environment is a multidisciplinary approach because to understand our environment, we need to understand several other subjects. We have science, we need to know, the cultural background, we need to know the society, the politics, okay, law, or there are so many other things which are interlinked to understand our environment. That's why we call environmental studies an multidisciplinary approach. Okay, so essentially the multidisciplinary approach that brings about the appreciation of our natural world and the human impact on our environment is what we are going to study here. Also, we call environmental studies as applied science. Why are we calling it as applied science? As we are seeking practical answers for whatever problems we have created around us, and also we are wanting to develop sustainable approach. So what is sustainable approach? What are we exactly going to study? Why this subject is very, very important for our future generation is what we are going to study in this particular unit. So I hope you have understood what is the meaning of environment. Next is goals of environmental education. What is the goal of environmental education? Why do we have to study this particular subject? And why is this subject, compulsory for all the streams under undergraduate? That is because we need to develop a population which is concerned about the environment, who will understand the problems which is there in our environment, and also we need a population which will get committed individually and also collectively towards the solution of current problems and also try to prevent further problems. That's the main goal of environmental studies what we have. We need to be responsible. We need to be responsible about our environment. We need to understand what is the problem which is going on, what are the consequences of these problems, and how are we going to solve all these problems which is there currently in our environment, so that we can save ourselves and save our environment for the future generation. That's the main goal of environmental studies. Next, we'll learn about the components of environment. See, components of environment can be broadly classified as physical components, okay? Then we have biological components as well as social components. Under physical components, we have atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere. When all these three are put together, we get biosphere, which is a biological component, and also about the social component, in which we are learning about the politics and about the culture which is affecting our environment. Okay, so we learn about what are the physical and the biological components here, and social components we'll be learning later in this subject. Okay, so first moving on to the physical components of environment. First one is atmosphere. What is atmosphere? Atmosphere is a blanket of gases which is there around the earth. In simple words, if I have to tell. Okay. What is hydrosphere? Different water bodies which you can see in earth, we call them as hydrosphere. It can be river, it can be ocean, it can be lake, etc., etc. Okay. Any water bodies which is there, we call them as hydrosphere. What is lithosphere? Lithosphere contains various types of soil, rocks on the earth. So different types of soil. If you go from one place to another, we can see there's a variation with the type of rock, the type of soil which is there in that particular land, isn't it? All of this comes under lithosphere. And the last is biosphere, a very important component that is composed of all living organisms and their interaction with the environment. So biosphere is something which comes in between. Okay, we have all the living organisms put together, and how are they interacting with atmosphere, hydrosphere as well as lithosphere, all comes in one component which we call it as biosphere. Okay, so that's about the different components. Now we'll go into the detail for every component. Okay, that is, first we are learning what is atmosphere. Atmosphere is a protective blanket of all the gases around us. It can be hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen gas. We have a mixture of gases or air which is there around us, which we call it as atmosphere. But of course, the lowest layer of the atmosphere, we call it as troposphere. And that's the only part which is warm enough for us to survive, and it is only 12 kilometers thick. Okay. After troposphere, we have stratosphere, okay, that is 50 kilometers thick and contains the layer of sulfates, which is very important for the formation of rain. And also, it contains the ozone layer, which is protecting us from the UV radiation. We all know if the UV radiation is coming directly into Earth, and if it, we are exposed to it, we can get skin cancer or it can damage our eye, etc. So the ozone layer is protecting us, which belongs to stratosphere. So if you see the troposphere, 0 to 12 kilometers, and between stratosphere and troposphere we have the ozone layer, and stratosphere is from 12 to 50 kilometers, which these are the two layers which is called as atmosphere. Okay. Next is hydrosphere. Hydrosphere covers 3/4 of the Earth's surface. That means we have very little land and we have lot of water around us in the Earth's surface. And in hydrosphere, the major part is the marine ecosystem. Okay, that is the oceans and the seas which is there, which where there is sea water, salt water is there. So that makes up the major part of the hydrosphere, and there's a small part which has got the fresh water. Under fresh water we have rivers, lakes, glaciers, etc. These can be renewed by the process of evaporation and rainfall. So whatever water is evaporated goes above, forms the cloud, and then there is precipitation, and then there can be rain which can come down, and fresh water is renewed in this way. Okay. Some of the fresh water lies underground. Okay, that is underground we have wells, we have bore wells from which we are getting the fresh water, isn't it? So some of the fresh water is there underground also. But now the human activities like deforestation, or the amount of industries which we have, and the water pollution is having a serious change in our hydrosphere. So in hydrosphere we have lot of ocean, or we have the marine ecosystem which is the major part, and there is very little amount of fresh water which is there in the form of river, lakes, and also underground. Okay, then the process of evaporation, and then there is a formation of the cloud, precipitation, and then there can be rainfall or snowfall, through which the fresh water is getting renewed of hydrosphere. Okay, so that's about hydrosphere. Next we'll move on to lithosphere. In lithosphere is the Earth's crust, that is the surface of the crust, about 6 to 7 kilometers thick. We call it as lithosphere. Okay, and it lies under the continents. Rocks were broken down into soil. Soil was further used for the agricultural purposes by humans. Also, the minerals what we get from lithosphere is used as the raw material for many industries. Now, what is the composition of lithosphere? See, you can see this is the core of the earth, okay, which is called as mesosphere, and the outer core which is a liquid, and then we have the inner core which is a rigid solid. After this, we have astrosphere, that is the ductile solid we call it as, and then comes the last part that is called as the lithosphere, which is a brittle solid. Okay, so lithosphere is a very small layer that is only 6 to 7 kilometers thick, and in this one what we have, what is the composition what we have? You can have 47% oxygen, 27% silicon, 88% aluminium, 5% iron, 4% calcium, and 2% magnesium, potassium, and sodium. Okay. Also, there is core which contains iron nickel alloy with high density. Okay. So that's about composition of lithosphere. Next is about biosphere. What exactly are we going to study in biosphere? Biosphere is which contains all the living organisms and its interaction with environment. I can tell that the biosphere is the thinnest layer in which actually life exists. Within the biosphere, we have air, water, rocks, then we have plants, animals, living organisms, any living organisms which are interacting with one another to form the structural and functional ecological unit, and it becomes the most largest unit where there is interaction between the non-living as well as the living systems so well. Okay, so here what is done is those with the similar geography and the climate, okay, and having similar kind of animals and fauna, that is the plants, all are grouped together and divided into biogeographical realms. Okay, and we know the earth's surface is divided into different continents, in which we can tell every continent has its own kind of climate, okay. They have a own kind of ecosystem which is there, okay. And also we have different types of animals, okay. Some animals are there only in certain continents and not there everywhere else, because there is a certain kind of geographical climate as well as an ecosystem where only that animal can exist only there and not elsewhere in the world. So here in biosphere, they have divided, all the land or space where living organisms are there into different units, or we call them as biogeographical realms with different climate, different flora as well as the fauna. So that's about the biosphere. Next we have the multidisciplinary nature of environmental studies. As I told you all, environmental studies is a multidisciplinary science, because to understand this, we need to learn all the other branches like chemistry, physics, medical science, life science, agriculture, public health, sanitary engineering. You need to know the geography, need to know the politics, need to know the cultural components, etc., etc. So there are so many subjects which is put together to understand what is environment and how all the components are interlinked with one another. That is, it studies about the source, reaction, transport, effect. Okay, from where are we getting certain things? How can it be transported from one place to another? How will it affect us? Okay, and the fate of physical and the biological species in the planet, which is interacting with air, water, soil, and also what is the impact of human on all of this? How are we having the effect on all of these components around us? We are going to study here, and that's the reason we call it as multidisciplinary nature. Also, environment is a very complex and actually made up of different environment. Okay, what is the meaning of environment is made up of different environment? I can tell environment contains natural environment, cultural environment, constructed environment, okay, and all these are interlinked with one another. Natural environment means what is existing naturally around us. Constructed environment means we are artificially constructing something. We are constructing, lot of buildings here. We are constructing, artificial lake. Okay, there wasn't a lake there, but we have constructed there, and we are trying to put up an ecosystem over there. Okay, in any one place, or we are trying to conserve certain regions so that the animals as well as the plants there will not get affected. So they are all constructed environment. Natural environment, which was naturally occurring. Okay, the cultural environment, how are we using the environment, how exactly we are destroying that also, as well as how are we trying to save it for the future generation. All of this we are going to study under this one subject. Also, this subject educates the students to appreciate the complexity of the environmental issues. So that's the reason we call it as multidisciplinary approach of EVS. Okay. Next is scope of EVS. Environmental studies as a subject has a wide scope. Okay. What is that? It includes the large number of areas and aspects which are the natural resources. How are we going to conserve that? Okay, and how are we going to utilize it efficiently, and how are we going to manage it? We'll study about that. Next is, it includes ecology and biodiversity. It also includes environmental pollution and control, as well as the human population and control, and how are we affecting the environment. Also, we study about the social issues in relation to development of the environment. Okay, so all of this we are going to study here as a subject, and there are lot of career options that have emerged due to environmental studies. What is that? The first one is R&D in environment, that is research and development in environment. The environmental scientists who are there, they have a lot of research and development work to be done so that we have a sustainable approach towards the environment. Also, how do we conserve them? What are the problems which we have created? Maybe we have created pollution, and we have deforestation which has occurred. There is a lot of problem with the climate change. All of this, why is it happening? We can find out. What is the solution? Can be found out by research and development in environment. And the scientists have a lot of work to be done when it comes to eco-friendly products which has to be taken care of. Okay. Second thing is green advocacy. Now, what is this green advocacy? There are a lot of laws, lot of acts which has been passed so that we can save the environment, that is save wildlife, save plants, okay, the trees, and also to save ourselves from pollution, that is pollution control. Several acts has been, there are several laws and acts which has been passed to save the environment, that is save our wildlife, plants, etc. So there is a need for lawyers which has emerged who can plead the cases which is related to air, water, forest, wildlife, pollution control, etc. And this is called as green advocacy. Next is green marketing. When we buy any of the products, to ensure the quality, we look into the ISO mark. Similarly, nowadays, to get the products which are eco-friendly, there is an eco mark which is done, or we get ISO 1400 certified products. Okay, these products are those which are eco-friendly, and due to this, there are a lot of environmental auditors and environmental management, and due to this, there are a lot of environmental auditors and environmental managers who would be in great demand in future. Okay. Next is green media. Now, what is green media? Through media, we are educating our population about what are the damages which we are doing to the environment, and how are we going to save the environment, or what are the consequences we are facing due to the damage, and what are the solutions which we can do to save our environment, and how we can be individually responsible towards the environment. We can make sure it reaches every person by using green media. The last one is environmental consultancy. What is it? Environmental consultancy. There are many NGOs, industries which are working systematically to tackle all the problems related to the environment under environmental consultancy. So these are some of the career options, and this is the scope of environmental studies. Thank you, my dear children. I hope you have understood the first part of the multidisciplinary nature of environmental studies. Next class, I'll be dealing with the importance as well as the sustainable approach. Thank you. Stay tuned for more updates.